So check it out. I'm laying in bed with my girl, and we're watching some video. I don't know, we're watching Vikings or something. You know, we're laying there, being all cute and cuddling and shit. And she's looking at me with those gaze eyes, trying to woo me and shit. And she's like, baby, why are you so handsome? You know, and I don't know, whatever. You know, 2 minutes goes by, and then she's like, "My God, babe, what happened to your face? Like, what's going on with your forehead?" Forehead? What do you mean? What's wrong with? I got something on my forehead. What's going on? Like, I don't feel nothing. What are you talking about? You know? And she's like, right there in your face. Maybe it's gonna be a tumor.
It's not a
feel something on your face, and you're like, oh no, it's gonna be huge. You know? Like 2 minutes ago, you thought I was like super hot and super handsome. Now my face is jacked up. You know? So I get up and I'm like, what the hell is she talking about? You know? And then it dawns on me, I was just talking about my scar right here. I see all the time on these posts, on like group posts, people, you know, people shaming people who don't ride any gear and all that, and squid this and squid that, and there's all kinds of gear topics out there and whatnot. And I don't personally know anybody who, especially myself, who started out with all the gear, who just like showed up in a suit and just sprouted up at the track and just started crushing it. I think almost everyone I know started out as a squid or does squid shit from time to time. So here's the thing with dudes, you know, when you're rolling around and when you first get into riding a bike or whatever, it's all about that cool factor. You feel cool, you want to look cool, you know what I mean? So I totally get it. You know, you don't want to wear a helmet because in a dude's mind, you know, in your younger 20s, you're like, how are all these girls gonna see me, how good looking I am if I've got this helmet on my head, right? Like, that's the thought. So you're like, I don't need a helmet, I'm gonna put it over here on the side so you see that I got this cool helmet, but I need you to look at all this, plus the bike is just gonna amplify all this, you know what I mean? That's how you think as a guy, right? Which is ridiculous, but that's how it goes, you know? It's just, so I get it, but I like my head, I like my face, so I definitely wear a helmet now. And honestly, it gives you kind of that unknown appeal, you know what I mean? Because you know, you see a girl with a helmet and the whole get up and you're like, damn, you know, and then she takes it off and you're like, oh shit. Pretty much how I got my first sport bike. First got introduced to bikes, I was in the service. I was in the Army station out at Fort Campbell, and I remember one night I was in the cars, and I'd put a ton of money into this particular car. And I remember one night, me and some of my battle buddies from my unit, we were going to Murfreesboro, headed down to Nashville and Murfreesboro to go to this college party. And I remember getting my car, and I remember I'm heading down the highway, and we were doing some pulls, and I remember I thought I was hot shit. I was doing like 130, and I remember my two buddies there on bikes, and they dropped way back, you know, and they fly by, man. They're like, you know, and man, and right there, I think it was like an epiphany, like and I was like, damn, you know, for me, that was like the coolest thing I'd ever seen. You know, I had never seen anybody fly by that fast. I mean, they passed me like I was standing still, you know. We get to the party or whatever, and you know, and people are giving me some compliments. People are like, hey, cool car, you know, I'm trying to stand there, be cool like Paul Walker, you know. You get the idea. And but all the girls wanted to go with the bikes, you know. They wanted to go backpack on the bikes, you know. So instead what happened was you know, I got a couple like, cool car, man. Cool car, bro. Nice car, man. But in the end, instead of looking like Paul Walker, I just ended up standing there looking with that Kevin Hart face. You know the one I'm talking about. Yeah, that one. And then later I get out, end up moving to Denver. If you're from Denver or if you've been here a while, you remember OTD Motorsports on Colfax, you know. So I go down there, and of course my buddy, being the good friend that he is, you know, for my first bike, man, you got to get the Gixxer 1000, the baddest bike out there, you know. But they didn't have any Gixxers. So what they do have though is the new Honda CBR 1000, the limited edition, the yellow and blue one, and man, that bike was it was sweet, you know what I mean? Still a good looking bike. I see him once in a while and I'm like, man, I had the bike forever too. So I go in, I fill out everything, I'm waiting, and now back up a couple days beforehand, knowing that I was going to buy a bike, I'd went online and I'd bought a helmet, because he was like, man, you need to get a helmet. So this is my first helmet buying experience. I picked the helmet solely on the graphics alone, right? Like, I seen this helmet, it had some chick on it, some other stuff, and I was like, oh man, that looks cool. You know what I mean? It's probably like a $200 helmet. I don't remember, maybe HJC or something. It was a cheap brand helmet. And my buddy, as we're standing there, he was like, yo, where's your helmet? You know, did you bring your helmet? I was like, it hasn't come yet. It's supposed to get here tomorrow. You know, and I was like, no big deal. You know, I had to work that night. It was St. Patty's Day, March 2006. And I had to go to work, so I was only planning on riding, you know, a couple miles downtown and parking it, and that was it. So I was like, dude, I'll be fine. You know what I mean? And Rocky was like, yo, dude. He was like, no way. He's like, dude, just cop the money, return the cheap ass helmet, get yourself in a ride right here. You know, he's a bigger ride thing. I was like, I'm good, dude. I'll be fine. I got a helmet coming. We're only going a couple miles. I'll be good. And I looked at the Arai sticker price, and I was like, oh, hell no. I'm not paying that for this helmet, looking like a juggernaut and shit. I just wasn't feeling it. You know what I mean? That's how dumb I was. And instead, what do I get? Instead, I cop this jacket, you know, this Joe Rocket jacket that was yellow, blue, and white. And I thought it looked freaking awesome. And I was like, oh, I gotta have a jacket that matches the bike, right? And some freaking ridiculous MX gloves or some crap I think I bought. So here's the thing. If you know Denver at all, you know Colfax and then 13th, 14th, each is a one-way, right? So this is how excited I am. I get the bike, get on there, and I ended up turning on to 14th, which is a one-way, and I go the wrong way, right? I'm so excited on the bike, and then it dawns on me. It happens so quick, man. I made it like a block or so, and I see the oncoming traffic, and I just panic, right? Down goes me and the bike, right? I'm maybe doing like 15, 20 miles an hour. Boom. Smack my head, bam. So I hop back up. I'm bleeding. My face is busted open, and I remember at that point I didn't remember buying the bike, right? I look down. I'm like, oh man, whose bike is this? You know what I mean? And then it all comes flooding back. And I'm like, oh shit. You know when you're embarrassed, you drop your bike and you don't want your boy to see. You know, so I'm trying to pick it up, trying to get it up, and people stopping you all right, and I'm like, I'm fine, you know. And it looked horrible, man. I mean, if you ever had a head injury and you get your skull busted, I mean, there's blood everywhere, blood all over my new jacket, gloves. And of course, here comes my boy. He drives around, he rolls up, he's in his truck, and he's laughing his ass off, and he's like, I told you, you're gonna bust your fucking face, you know. He's like, you feel pretty stupid. And I was like, yeah, man, you know. And he was like, man, let's just take it back to the dealership. We'll let them check it out. Let's make sure you're all good. And, you know, pride takes over, and I'm like, nah, bro, I'm good. I'm fine. I was like, let's just get it home, you know. And he's like, you want me to just, you know, load it up in the truck? We get it there. And, of course, you don't want to look like a bitch in front of your friends. So I was like, no, dude, I'm going to ride it. I got it. I'm good, you know. So get on the bike. I go a couple blocks, and, man, I'm losing blood. I'm woozy. I'm just out of it. I'm missing gears. It's a shit show, right? I'm stalling the bike. I look like an idiot. People looking at me like I'm crazy. Finally, you know, he's like, dude, I got it, you know. So I get in his truck, he rides it back, and I show up work, and I remember the GM was like, and before, so real quick, the GM was like, man, you're gonna buy one of those sport bikes? Those things are dangerous, you know. And I was like, oh no, I'm fine. And of course I get there, and he looks at me, and he's like, dude, just go home, you know. So it's St. Patty's Day. I should have probably went and got stitches. Instead, I just took a butterfly, tucked the fat back in my face, and I put a little butterfly Band-Aid on there, and we go out drinking. And as the night goes on, the more I drink, the more my face leaks, you know, and my story completely changes, you know, because I was embarrassed. And of course, it went from the bike thing to the more bars we went to. It became, oh, what happened to your face, man? What happened? You know, it just turned into, oh, dude, you should have seen the last bar we got kicked out. I got in this gnarly fight, and you know, and fucking, you should see the other guy, you know, and yeah, and that was my first bike. And then eventually, you know, the more people I started hanging out with that rode canyons and did schools and classes, the more I was like, oh man, there's more to it than just this, you know. So that's it, man. That's how it went down.